everybody. Life can be scary and sometimes hard, like you got a winning hand till you dealt the wrong card. It ain't fair, but you're not alone. Down and out or high and dry, in the darkest valley or the coldest night, you're fine. And you're not alone, with a song bubbling in your heart, where a story can give you a brand new start. You don't have to travel this big bad world all on your own, and it's better when we do it together. All mixed up and upside down, feels like there's no one else around. That ain't right, 'cause you're not alone. When it all goes south and life gets tough, when you've been knocked down, those weeds are rough, you just fight, 'cause you're not alone. With a song bubbling in your soul, where a story can make you feel whole. You don't have to travel this big bad world all on your own, 'cause it's better when we do it together. It's better when we do it together. Oh my gosh, I just went crazy. Hello everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Polaha Chautauqua. You were live with Kristoffer Polaha, and we are here, guys. We are here, and what an amazing turnout right on the top of the hour. People who are new to the show, it's a little theme song my son and I wrote. It's better when you do it together. My goodness, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2021. What did I miss while I was off of social media? Any good movies? Anybody storm the castles while I was away? We know what I missed. Guys, I missed you guys is what I missed. I want to read something to you. I'm sure you've had a chance to see it if you watch me if you follow me on social media at all. So a young reporter named Kristoffer Gardner asked if he could interview me for The Hollywood Reporter. And I sat down via the internet together with him and we talked. And there's a really cool article called Wonder Woman, 1984 Handsome Man to Become Romance Novelist, which you should check that out if you can. But I wanted to read something to you from it because it's about you guys. Let me get to it. Hang tight, everybody. I'm scrolling. Okay. So Chris asked me, he says, when I was digging around about you, I discovered your Instagram series, Polaha Chautauqua. It's such an interesting thing that you've created during the pandemic, mixing community, faith, music, conversation, self-help, and entertainment. How did you come up with this idea? And what has it meant for you to see it grow? And then I said, yeah, thank you for asking about this. In the very first week of the pandemic, in March 10th, my friend Liz Tigler posted that the Indigo Girls were going to do a free show live on Instagram. I tuned in, and these women were doing what they were born to do for anyone who tuned in, and it made me feel so good. So that Friday, which I think was like March 17th, I went live on Instagram at 4 p.m. Pacific time just to check in with people, find out how the pandemic looked in their part of the world and how they were preparing for quarantine. I did it again the following week. And by the third week, I named it the Polaha Chautauqua. And it was fast becoming a place to gather and tell stories. And it was a place that was letting people know that they weren't alone and that all are welcome. The tagline for the Polaha Chautauqua became, we can do this, but it's better when we do it together. The Chautauquas of the past were traveling tent shows where popular talks were given to educate adults and enlighten the audience. Film and radio killed the historic Chautauqua, but it seemed to me that social media and quarantine were the ideal combinations to revive the concept. Plus, it was born out of my own need to connect with people during that initial fear and panic of COVID. Tim Tebow joined me one week to talk about hope in hopeless circumstances. Rainn Wilson joined me to give a commencement speech to the graduating class of 2020. And every week, people from all over the world join me live to sing a song, read poetry, or simply share their story. The Good Friday edition is the episode where I shared my faith. The Christian narrative has a very particular take on death, and with COVID roaming over the face of the earth at a terrifying pace, it was a very real and honest 45-minute discussion about how my faith has helped me to come to terms with my own fear of death. I became a conduit to something bigger than my career or anything I'd ever attempted on social media, and I simply shared my story. It reached thousands of people by Easter Sunday, and for Christians, it was a profound declaration of faith from an unusual source, from a Hollywood dude. And for non-Christians, it was an attractive perspective of a narrative that they didn't believe in, but they felt welcome to glean from. I did the show week after week until late June. I took a summer hiatus, came back in August, Sunday nights, stronger than ever, with the theme of living the full expression of the human existence, the human experience, and what that looks like. Again, I can't even, I'm reading this thing and I misquoted myself in my own dang interview. I can't get that ever, I never can get it right. The full expression of the human experience, or, existence. Again, all of this is in context of a pandemic that has created extremely unique circumstances. People want honesty and truthfulness and something real. I'm giving them, you. The people who are brave enough to push that accept request button and go live with me are incredibly real and honest and surprisingly inspiring. I'm chasing this idea of kingdom living. How can you live each day to the fullest, purpose-driven, and what does that even mean? We've discussed anxiety, forgiveness, how to live our lives with patience, kindness, self-control, faithfulness, peace, joy, and love. Week by week, the number of audience members has grown. The response I've received in letters and messages has been overwhelming, and it's become a true community. People talk to each other during the week. They post pictures and quotes about the upcoming topic in preparation for the Sunday Live. It has been a bright spot in a otherwise very dark season. And then he goes on to ask, will you continue through 2021? And the last Polaha Chautauqua I did was Christmas on love, and it had a broad reach so far. Keep in mind, these are hour-long shows, so it's a commitment to the viewer's part. It's been an interesting social experience for me, interesting enough for me to keep on going on with. So yes, the answer is yes. We're going to do a full year of the Polaha Chautauqua. That is my 2021 goal. So guys, we're going to talk about goals today and setting goals today. I've got my little notes that I like to set up for you all. And I just want to reiterate that you are what makes this hour what it is. Without you, it would just be like a hollow bell gonging in the wind. I mean, nothing, literally nothing without you guys. So, let's see. I do want to address the world at large real quick before we get into goals. I think I would be a little tone deaf if I didn't. Anyone who knows the Polaha Chautauqua and who's been here before knows this is not a very political place. I know I did post a thing of my son, a speech that he gave, that he wished Trump had given. But you don't know my politics, and I'm not going to force my politics on you guys, and you probably all would be very surprised. But we're not, probably not. So I'd written here, any good movies, anybody storm any castles, too soon, ha ha ha. Here's what I'm going to say about that. So I will pray for whoever is in the White House. My president doesn't define me. They may or they may not represent me. And all people are infallible, including the President of the United States. So that same applies to them. So I would like to thank Donald Trump for his service, and I want to wish Joe Biden well, and I hope the next 4 years he crushes it out of the park, because if he does, it's what's good for the gander is good for the goose, right? So, there's that. Goals. Today, we're going to talk about goals. Hi, Seb. Happy anniversary, Seb. We're going to talk about goals today. We're going to talk about how to set them and how to meet them. I'm going to tell you my stories and what I do, and I would love to hear your stories. So any goals that you've set, any resolutions, if you want to throw that into the same basket, anything we're going to do, I'm going to open up. I want to talk to as many of you as I can today. So I'm going to jam through this next little bit. So let's see. The new year is always a good time of year for me to setting new goals. So here's what I do every January 1st. I set new goals. I put to rest old goals that have just kind of been lingering for a long time. I used to have projects that I'd be working on. There was this wonderful thing called Fight for Love, and I worked on it for 13 years. And every once in a while, like life will come back into it. But it's a goal that I'm kind of like, you're good to go. There's a lot of times I'll just put things down. I'll write letters to people and say, hey, I appreciate working with me this far, but I think it's time If it doesn't work in the year, then and I don't see it moving forward, then I kind of let that go. I also dust old goals off, and so it's not always new ones. Sometimes it's like, all right, let's keep pushing this one forward. So that's always an interesting time of year for me. And every year I write this piece of paper, and I have my 1-year goals, 5-year goals, and then 10-year goals. And then I write a little like, go get them, Chris, note at the bottom, and it usually has something to do with climbing Mount Everest and getting to the top of the mountain and shining. And I guess what's the most interesting thing about what I do, in 1998, for my 5-year goal, I wrote that I wanted to be a national figure by 2003. Now, I'm an actor, and so what that meant was I wanted to be like a household name actor by the year 2003. And that didn't happen per se, but what was interesting was that in those 5 years, I pushed all that energy and kept sort of seeing that goal for that initial year. And when I was, auditioning for plays and when I was auditioning for television movie, and all that was kind of moving forward, so that in 2003, I did in fact play John F. Kennedy Jr. And in this weird sort of way, it was like, well, you got to be a national figure. It just wasn't you. So you also got to be careful what your goal is and what you're moving towards, because sometimes it can happen, but not in the way you think. And then last year I wrote in my goal list, last year was my 1-year goal, and I wanted to push forward kingdom living. Now in January of 2020, I didn't know what kingdom living looked like. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know how it was going to manifest. Clearly it has taken shape in what we now call the Polaha Chautauqua with you guys in this community. And so we're going to encourage each other throughout the year to push that forward. And what does that look like? What does it mean to be somebody who is kingdom living? And do you have to be a Christian to do that? Is this just for Christians? I like to think of it if you saw the December 1, I was talking about how this has become this kind of hybrid of church on a Sunday for people and also theater, because there's a live element of it. And everybody kind of rises to the occasion in this really beautiful way. So no, the answer is you don't have to be a Christian to be here. But I think that there's a narrative that's powerful enough that if you're not, you can glean from it, like I said in that interview, and you'll gain something out of it regardless. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, and then I'm going to get on with it, because I've got some stuff and I've got a guest lined up that I'm excited to share with you. He set a really cool goal. His name is Red, and we're going to meet him in about 3 minutes. So I was a freshman. I went to a boarding school called Robert Louis Stevenson, and it was my choice. My parents were like, why do you want to leave home? And I said, well, because. And I had my reasons, but one of them was because my dad left home at 16, and I thought, well, I mean, I could leave at 14, and also the education was incredible, and also there was just a lot of cool things, but I was miserable. I'd call home every single night. I would cry. And I remember there was this roommate of mine named Jake, and there was this little bully boy named Scott. And Scott would come in and he would just be a bully to Jake, do nasty, terrible things that just really, imagine 2 freshman boys at boarding school and a Bic lighter and warm water that possibly, might have had urine in it at night while the kid was sleeping. That kind of stuff, imagine that kind of stuff on a regular basis. And there was a code among the students that you didn't just go and tell teachers, and I don't know why. It's 1991. There was this idea of hazing existed, and like it was an initiation. It's all very weird and totally unhealthy. And you're right, Gene, too young to leave home. And there was a part of me that just physically, I could have whooped the kid. I mean, I was a big dude, even as a freshman, and I'm from Reno, and we know how to hold our own in Reno. But my mom told me to turn the other cheek, and she said, well, do what Jesus did and turn the other cheek. And so I just prayed and I prayed and I prayed. Well, one day in December, he came in and he was being a jerk, and I picked up a broom and I smashed it out the windows. And imagine like those like square windows where there's 9x9 little panes of glass. And I popped all the windows out, and I looked at what I'd done, and I remember there were these senior girls sitting on the quad outside my dorm room, and they looked in and they saw this kid, and I was like with the broom in my hand, and I started crying. And I went to the nurse, and the nurse was like, she didn't even ask what was wrong. She just said, you take the rest of the day off. And I went back to my room, and I was crying, and I started praying, and I was like, Lord, I'm going to get kicked out. I don't know. And so I pulled up all the courage and strength that I had in my body, and I did what I thought was the manly thing to do, which was march myself down to the Dean of Students' office, Mr. Henderson. And he saw that my face was just stained with, tears, and it was red, and he said, what's going on? He made way for me immediately. He said, come into my office, sit down and talk to me. And I said, Mr. Henderson, I'm just not, and I didn't want to tell on the kid. I didn't tell him why I did what I did, because I didn't want to be what I thought was like a little rat. And in retrospect, probably would have been very smart to very early on let authorities know what was going on. So if you're ever in that situation, don't worry about being a rat. Just tell people what's happening. Talk to people you can trust. That is my honest and sage advice. But I didn't do that. I thought that letting sort of the jungle laws take care of themselves, and I'll tell you the story how it panned out in a minute, but work out they did. But Mr. Henderson said something to me that no one had ever said to me before. He looked at my grade point average, and he looked at I wasn't involved in anything after school. And my grades were not good at this point. This is the first trimester, so the fall. I was homesick and I didn't know how to be a student yet. And he looked at me and he said, Kristoffer, I want you to set some goals. And I looked at him and I said, what do you mean? He's like, I want you to set a grade point average that's achievable for you. I don't want you to hit some like 4.3. Like you right now you're at a 2.8, go to 3.4, go to 3.6. Like set a goal. And I want you to get involved in something after school. I don't care if it's a team or a program or a club. You got to do something. You got to be involved with other people. And set another goal, like a life goal, like how many miles can you run, or what do you like to do? Like go do that thing. And I sat in his office, and he was so compassionate towards me, and he was so kind to me, and he gave me such just loving wisdom. And he was a great headmaster. It was his last year of being a headmaster. And then Mr. Munger took over sophomore, junior, senior year, and he was awesome. Mr. Foster took over after that. Great guys, all of them to a man. But I'll never forget Mr. Henderson, because he blessed me. He spoke a blessing into my life that to this day I am still reaping the benefits from. Because what I did after that was I did set a GPA goal, but I also tried out for the basketball team, the freshman basketball team, and also the school play. And I got cut from the basketball team. Remember, I said I was pretty big. I was like 6'2" at that point, 6'1", 6'2", but I was so gangly and thin. But I made the play. And the play ended up being, and the play led to this other play, and all of it just led to this community of people that I fell in love with. I found an identity as an actor. I found a thing that I was very, very good at. Like I was good at getting on a stage in front of people where other people were scared and nervous. I came alive. I loved it. Used to do announcements on Wednesday, and I just loved it. And it became this thing that girls thought I was attractive for the first time. Upperclassmen had respect. They're like, all right. I stopped getting hazed. It was interesting. It became this thing, and that goal, it was a love that sort of burned like a hot, it just burned. And so I've taken the idea of setting goals to move my life forward very seriously since my freshman year in high school. And that's why I wanted to share with you guys an hour of the Chautauqua about goals. Because to me, it's not just like, I think I'm gonna run a 7-minute mile this year, and I think I'm not gonna eat chocolate. And that's fine if that's your goals. That's awesome. And I don't want you to not come join me live if those are the two things that you've set out to do. I think that's amazing. But I also think that goals and a revival of those goals and a revisiting of those goals and a continuation of those goals yearly, where you mark down the thing, where you set it in front of you, and then remind yourself as you go, what am I working for? What am I working for? Because we're all persevering and we're all enduring. And I don't care who you are or where you live or how much money's in your bank account or how happy you think you are or how happy you're not. We are all going through something. We're all struggling. We're all fighting to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And if we're going to talk about kingdom living, then just on a very human level, what I want to talk to you about today and what I want to learn from you today is how do you sort of endure and persevere and nudge yourself on and meet those goals. Now I have, as I always do, and I'll tell you my goal for this year at the end of the show. So as defined by Webster, goals, the end towards which effort is directed. Pretty obvious. The goal is high-speed rail travel. Okay, the end towards which effort is directed. 2, an area or object toward which players in various games attempt to advance a ball or puck, and usually through or into which it must go to score points. The act or action of causing a ball or puck to go through or into such a goal. the score resulting from such an act, a terminal point of a race, an area to be reached safely in a children's game. So goals, to me, there's a lot of play involved in goals and setting goals. And that can be as much as like, hey, I want to pay off all my debt this year, or hey, I want to make $100,000 this year, or hey, I want to, there's fun in that. There's fun in setting yourself up for something. Hey, my baby's here. What's up, baby? You good? There's fun in setting up goals. A lot of my goals become about how I see my wife and how I hear my wife. That's always included. A lot of goals become about what kind of dad I want to be. And what I love about the 1, 5, and 10 is that I have a short-term goal, I have a mid-range goal, and I have a long-range goal. And then, let's see. Let me see something here. Okay, so a goal. I always like taking it back to the good book. A goal, Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with small things can also be trusted with big things. And so there's something about hitting a goal, you know, and accomplishing a goal that makes us feel better. It solidifies us, how we think of ourselves in our own minds. If I say I'm gonna do something every day, like write a haiku for a year on Twitter every day, just because it's a goal that I set last year, and I meet that goal, if I go from November to November and I meet that goal, then I've just done something. Whatever the outcome is, whatever the product is, I've done it. This is interesting to me. Here I wrote here my little notes. I always go off and then I have to go back and reiterate things. So I think of these 3 Bible verses when I think of the kind of goals I like to set. Goals that make me a better man. A long-term, day-by-day shedding of the wild youth into a seasoned, wise old man. So James 1:22-25 says, do not merely listen to the word. So these Chautauquas, we're hearing it, we're talking about stuff. Don't just hear it, so that you deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Put it into practice. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues it, not forgetting what they have heard but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. I gotta be honest with you. I went to church this morning, Be Aligned, and my pastor did this, and he talked about something awesome. His name is Sean, and he said it was not just looking at your face in the mirror, but your first face in the morning when you're groggy. And it's like knowing that you look like heck, but then moving and going into a business meeting or jumping on a Zoom call and looking like a beast. So that's up. So I talked about movies. Obviously, Wonder Woman stormed the globe on Christmas Day. It's been an incredible ride for me and a lot of fun. And my first guest has done something really cool regarding that. Let me see if I can find my first guest. All right, are you there? Red, are you there? Let me see. Red, are you watching right now? Were you able to make it today? If you are, give me a little nod here. Give me a little nod, and welcome to the Polaha Chautauqua, folks. Where you... Shoot. Well, you never know what's going to happen. Well, you never know if I will reach out and call your name. Oh, man. Shoot, are you guys seeing someone named Red? Let me see. There you are. Boom, view request. All right, Red, I'm coming at you.
Ooh.
Hello.
I gotta turn the camera around. There you go.
Hey, Red, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's nice to meet you via Instagram Live. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I'm a fan of the movie, so thank you for this chance to talk to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason, Red, I got to be honest, the reason I wanted you to come on today to the Polaha Chautauqua, because I'm sure it's completely new to you. You're like, what the heck did I sign up for? Is you have set a goal, which has blown my mind. So Wonder Woman 1984 came out on Christmas Day, and you set a goal of watching it how many times?
84 times.
84 times. And how many times have you watched it so far?
74.
74. So you're
74.
you're closing in on the goal, and you're going to meet that well before the January 31 like day you have to give back the HBO thing, right?
Right. Well, because the movie leaves
Yeah.
HBO Max on 24th, I believe. Yeah, yeah. So it's a 31-day window for me to finish the goal. Even though I will try other mediums, like I'll try to find a drive-in movie theater locally, because in California we're all closed.
Okay. Yeah.
Sad,
Are you
sadly.
California too? Is that where you are as well?
That's right. Yeah,
What does it
California.
feel like watching a movie 70 times so far? Are you seeing things for the first time? Are you paying attention every single time? Or are you just like at a certain point chilling out?
Yes, so I try to pay attention to different things and different viewings. Even sometimes I try to watch the movie without any sound, so I can focus on the image, or sometimes I just watch just the sound, just, oh, okay, I remember this scene, and try to find little nooks and crannies that the director might have hid in there.
Yeah.
Uh, it's interesting. I mean, you guys, yeah, you guys are just brilliant. Yeah.
I wish I
I
could
don't.
take, I mean, I got a call from Patty Jenkins and she was like, I'd like you to read for this part. It was a mystery as to what I was reading. I went into Warner Brothers and met the head of casting, Christine, and she was like, will you just read this a few times? And I read it. And then next thing I know, I got a job where I got to go I got to go to, I'll tell you a really funny story. It's not so funny. It's kind of sad, but it's an interesting story. My father-in-law died in 2018, which is when I got cast. So I auditioned for it. My father-in-law died, and then I got the job in June. And his wife thought that she had flushed her wedding ring down her toilet. And so right before I left to go film Wonder Woman, I physically got a shovel and dug out her septic tank, and I built a sluice, I got screen and wood and a hose, and I was putting the waste, whatever it was, into the sluice and letting the water wash. And then we had metal detectors come and find it. And I was thinking to myself, I'm about to go film like this huge movie, this biggest blockbuster, this amazing experience, and I'm literally knee deep in human waste. And I thought that juxtaposition was pretty amazing because it kept me very grounded. But Gal was amazing, Patty's amazing, and obviously Chris Pine, like the whole group. So I love that you are a fan of it, and I love that you're so supportive of it. That's cool.
Yeah, as you can tell, fan of Wonder Woman,
Yeah,
all
I
the
love it.
comics.
I love it. How about you? You got any other goals besides 84 viewings of Wonder Woman?
Yes. Well, let's do long-term goals because 2020 was harsh.
Yeah.
So my wedding was canceled
Oh wow.
last May
Okay.
because she lived in Ireland, and the wedding was supposed to be in Ireland, and with all the travel ban, that sort of thing, and then it's just hellish, and then it took a toll on our relationship. We're slowly trying to mend our connection in a way. And another long time goal. So I guess I have to sell all these things before I get married.
Wow. Okay.
It's sort of like a symbolic rite of passage sort of thing.
And
Um,
that's per her request, or is it a financial thing, or is she like, you got to get rid of the?
no, I mean, mostly it's, living behind in my old
Yeah.
self sort of thing, kind of like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
gospel thing. And also selling my instruments. I have like drum kits and because I do, I record music, and been with the band since I was like 12 or so. And yeah, I have all the stuff, all the comics, instruments stacked away, and gotta sell all of those and find a job in Ireland, which is hard because I don't have a degree or any technical skills. I do jack of all trades sort of thing, freelance musician. I played in churches. I played different kind of secular gigs. I do art. I draw, for commission and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I even did, I did all the janitorial things up until, doctor's office and all kinds of things, but I never had any speciality in my skills. So that's just the hump that I'm trying to get over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
So
to move
it was
to
a hard year, And now you're doing a lot of like, you're getting all your sort of ducks in a row. You're getting everything kind of lined up to march
Yes.
on forward. All right.
Yes, like I said, faithful in the little things. Little things like selling these stuff on eBay, maybe, whatever I need to do to make that happen, and hopefully mend my relationship.
Well, I'm
Uh,
sure that someone just said true love. You know, it's that old adage: if you set it free and it comes back, it's meant to be. And you know, just what distance makes the heart grow fonder or yonder. Hopefully, it's fonder in your case. Um,
Indeed.
yeah, but there's so many people saying don't sell your comic stuff. I'm sure that there's a pretty large market you can sell that to. So um,
Yes, hopefully.
yeah.
Finally.
Well, Matt, I just wanted to meet you. I think what you're doing is awesome. And I love that Patty Jenkins is aware of it. Like everybody's aware of it in the movie. We're like, oh yeah, look at this guy. He's a true Blue fan. I think that's really, really cool. And you've made a mark, and I really do wish you the best, man. I hope that the road rises to meet you and that the wind is always at your back and that 2021 fares a lot better for you than 2020 did for you.
God's willing. Yeah, yeah. Amen.
Yep.
To you as well.
Thanks,
Yeah.
brother. All right, man.
Good luck with the book.
Thanks. Yeah. All right. Good talking to you. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.
Bye.
There we go. There we go. All right. Come on, kids. Join me. I got some usuals lined up, which I'm going to get to. But I'm going to go talk to a kid right now. If this kid will talk to me. Let's see. Let's see how this kid's feeling right now. It really is nerve-wracking. I get it. If I were watching, I would have this feeling inside being like, man, what if he sees my name and calls me? I am writing a book. It's called Moments Like This. It will be on shelves March 9th. So shortly, very, very shortly. And it's a love story. It's a fun. I've got a co-writer named Anna Gomez. It's her. She brought me on. I'm collaborating with her. She's awesome. And we are already in book 2, which will be on shelves in November. So busy boy over here. And The Ring, guys, sadly was not in the, you're all asking. And I didn't want to finish the story because it's got such a sad ending. I did not find The Ring. I emptied the waste thing and it was not in there. We had 3 gold, medal people finding it. Hi, Savvy.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome to the Polaha Chautauqua, kiddo.
Thank you. I literally just randomly joined on a whim and I was like, oh, all right, sure.
Yeah, and now you got to come live with me. Do you have any goals? Have you set any goals for yourself?
In 2021, yes,
Yeah.
I set a lot of goals. One of them was with like mental health stuff, because I think for a lot of people, 2020 was like a bad mental health year. And so I just wanted to focus on that for myself this year. And, I don't know, just like, not that being happy is the be all end all goal, but just like working on daily things to make sure that that happens.
Yeah.
My goal for 2021. So just, even if it's like 5 minutes of just like, I don't know, reading a Bible verse or like journaling or something like that, just adding some positivity into my day was the goal for 2021.
That's awesome. How's it going so far?
It's going. I'm trying. I feel like I'm realizing that it's a good goal because it also helps you like find positive things in your day. So like, even if you don't set them up specifically, like you can find, I don't know, like spending time with friends can be like your 5 minutes of like joy or like adding positivity. Yeah.
I like that. I mentioned this guy, Sean, who's the pastor of Calvary out in Thousand Oaks. And he was
I
talking
literally watched it.
Did you watch it today?
So,
yeah, and he was talking about happiness. He was talking about how like serious people take their happiness seriously because you have to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you have to make the effort and know yourself and move towards that idea of like, okay, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to, yeah, it's a serious endeavor, happiness. Well, good. You've got a big year coming up. Aren't you going to graduate? Do you graduate this year?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I mean, we're still going to have a graduation regardless of if we have to be, outside wearing masks or like whatever it looks like it's going to happen though. So, I mean, I guess that's some sort of positivity to have out there. But I think like, I'm looking forward to it, but it's definitely scary, especially because I've missed like almost all of my junior year. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I didn't have the full high school experience to be like, oh yeah, like I'm ready to graduate. So we'll see. Hopefully when the time comes around, it'll click.
It'll click. And any goals for your singing?
Singing goals. No,
No, let it ride.
yeah, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm still writing music and doing what I love. But again, it's just like whatever makes me happy in the moment, in the day, or, you know, can be therapeutic or get me something. That's what my music is for. So
I love it. All right. Tell your parents I said hi. Don't get COVID.
I will. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah. Bye. We laugh. And yet. Okay. Seb, I'm coming at you because I know it's late where you are, and I know that you have a big birthday coming up. What's going on? How are we?
Hello.
Hi. There you are. Hi, Seb. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like a club.
It is.
Like a little social club.
How are you doing?
That's the gear. I'm good. How are you? Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
It's a big day for you.
Yeah, it's been like, I've just enjoyed kind of like the freedom of knowing that it's like a year. So,
Yeah. Big deal.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm very proud of you.
thank you.
Yeah. Talk to me. Do you have goals? I know you have goals. I know you set goals. What do you talk to me about how you set goals and how you meet goals? And if you want to share what goals you have.
I never really that like New Year kind of 2021 coming in is the first year that I haven't been like, oh, it's New Year, everyone's going to be like, yay, New Year, new me and stuff. But like, because of COVID, everyone was like, nobody do it because we're dealing with the pandemic and you can't. So it was like a different perspective as well with having the fruit of the spirit and all that kind of stuff. So in the past, I would be like, oh, I need to work on my mental health, I need to work on my fitness, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it was all kind of vague. So this year it's been kind of more specific, and looking at not just the goal itself, but the steps required to get there. So, for example, I'm trying to work on writing a novel. I haven't written anything for 3 years, but I've got like 6 chapters kind of first drafted. So it was kind of like, you know, make a schedule where like that's realistic to keep up with, instead of just being like, I need to write my novel, because that's just pressure, because then you're seeing the full picture.
It becomes too ambiguous, and then you're like, you never focus in on it, right? And so it becomes this obscure, hard thing to accomplish.
Yeah, one of the mental health people I used to work with when the recovery college was open used to say to people who were feeling quite overwhelmed, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah, one
and
bite
they would be like, huh? And she'd be like, one bite at a time and stuff. So like if ever anyone was feeling overwhelmed about goals and things, that would be kind of how she would advise to progress.
That's a really smart thing. Yeah, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. Yeah. And then
go ahead. I was just going to say,
okay, sorry.
Write a book of poetry. I was just going to say, I think you should write it. You should work on publishing your book of poetry. Do you have that? It's backwards. It's
publish like a collection of my poetry, it says.
Yeah. I know wasn't that people that would support that.
Focusing. Yeah. That's one of my, I need to kind of make up a manuscript of it. So like, again, steps towards it is kind of shortlist, then narrow that down, and then kind of come up with the manuscript and then send it away to people who will say yay or nay, probably nay, but we'll keep going, and stuff. And then my other kind of more personal goals are therapy, keep going with that. My long-term goal with myself is balance in well-being. That's what I've written it down as. So it's just kind of like feeling, I suppose it's the self-control thing. It's not it's eating the right foods, working out regularly, getting out for walks, doing therapy, managing my mental health, all that kind of thing. just
Yeah.
comes under kind of the balance bracket.
I know that when I see you post pictures of walks that you take, I get so happy for you, because I know that during the beginning of the pandemic, you were just kind of stuck
Yeah.
in your room. And I was like, oh,
Yeah. You're like, go outside. You need to go outside.
go outside, get fresh air, get some
Yeah.
exercise. Because I think that changes. I know personally, when I start working out, it changes my blood chemistry and my,
Yes.
like, I mentally, it almost like flushes my brain. And I'll know,
Yeah.
like, my body will start to literally get kind of like, and I'll just have to go for a run.
Yeah.
And when I go for a run, I come home and I'm like a different guy. And because I've
Yeah.
sweat out and I've worked out all of that frustration or all of the nerves or the stress or whatever it is. So I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of, like, just getting your blood going.
Yeah, definitely. I think moving house helped with that, even though it was like really kind of traumatic moving in the middle of a pandemic. We moved from kind of one side of town right across to the other.
Who do you live with? I'm just
My mum
curious.
and dad and my son,
You do. You have a son. How old's your son?
14.
You have a 14-year-old? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And how old are your parents?
Oh gosh. My mum is, hang on, God. No, that's not right. 65. My mum's 65 this year, so my dad will be 60 this
Okay.
year.
So they're young. You've got young parents.
Yeah.
You've got a bunch of young, except for your kid who's 14. You've got like a teenager, Seb.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was born the day before my 21st birthday.
There you go. There you go.
But, yeah.
Okay.
And then,
More on you, more to come. I'm going to let you go tonight,
yes.
but I'm so proud of you. And I know
Thank
that
you.
share your story with people, but it's an awesome anniversary that you're celebrating today, and super proud of you.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure.
All right. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. That's awesome. Okay. I'm going to just keep running through. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to folks. Let's see. Okay, I'm coming to somebody who I don't know. So maybe you'll be cool. Or maybe not. I've got, while I wait, I've got drums. I've got drums. Waiting for Ashlyn. Ashlyn, are you there? Hello, hello, hello. All right, I can't wait too much longer. 3, 2, 1. All right. I can only play so many drums. So Ashlyn, I'll try you again in a second. All right. I'm going to do a random one, and then I'm going to go to Gail, because Gail's always got a little tidbit of wisdom for us. And let's see this one. All right, Ginger, if you're watching, I'm coming for you. Ginger Kalinsky. I need like a band, so when I wait for people. No, Ginger, it's all right. Gail, and then Sarah, and then Ashlyn. I'll try you again. Gail, I'm coming at you, girl. My sister. Happy New Year! Hello, hello, hello. Are you coming to me live from Florida, or are you back home?
I'm in Florida.
Wow, Florida.
Yeah.
Sunny skies.
Yeah, well, it's actually been kind of cool here. Like the highs have only been like 60, which I know compared to the folks at home, that seems really warm, but it's not.
Hey,
And
it ain't 94 degrees like it is in Southern California.
No.
I'm sitting here sweating. I'm like, oh my God. How are you, Gail? How was your Christmas holidays? How was your New Year? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much. Yeah, it's been strange being in this new place for an unknown amount of time, but I'm with my honey, so that's all that matters.
Awesome.
So
Right. How's he doing? Did you ever get
he's
did you get the package I sent you for your, did it show up at your house?
nope, not yet.
It's still in. You're the last one. Seb got
Wow.
his, and then Kim just got hers, and people
Yeah.
who were the finalists all, I don't know. I hope everybody got theirs. If you were a finalist and you haven't got a package yet, there's one sent to you, and you better get it because I paid good American money to have it sent. US.
I'm sure it's just stuck somewhere in a processing center because like it literally took a whole month for folks to get their Christmas cards and
I know.
Gifts. So it'll come.
Okay. All right, let's get on with the show. How do you have anything you would like to add in the conversation regarding goals? Do you set goals? How do you keep your goals? How do you meet your goals?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. It's interesting that you picked this because one of my pastors did a sermon on this just a couple weeks ago, which just fit in so beautifully. And he made an interesting point. He said, the average U.S. lifespan is 79 years. Okay. So that's approximately 28,800 days. And if you think about it, you're going to spend about a third of those days sleeping. And then you're probably going to spend another 10,000 going to school or working or something like that. So really, presuming you live the average lifespan, you've only got about 9,000 days to do whatever it is God put you on this earth to do.
Wow.
And that was really sobering for me because obviously the older you get, that number comes down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
And so, yeah, I know. And I just turned 50 last year. So I'm like, dude, my days are getting short.
According to that clock, I'm now.
Right.
Yeah.
According to that clock, I'm at about 10,000. That's all I got left.
28 years.
Yeah.
I think 29. You'll make it.
Yeah.
Beyond that.
So,
yeah.
So anyway, that told me you need to be purposeful, right? Your time is short. We don't know. We're not promised tomorrow. And one of the verses that really speaks to me on this topic comes from Proverbs. It's Proverbs 21:5. And it says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." And, using those words abundance and poverty, it's not necessarily talking about finance or money or anything like that. It's talking about life experiences. And so if you plan diligently, you can have an abundance in your life with regards to relationships, right? If you are being thoughtful instead of being rash, right? You juxtapose those two things. Or even in the work that you do, if you're being proactive rather than reactive, just that planning, that diligence, that purposefulness can lead to abundance. So
that's great.
Anyway,
yeah.
I think that's a reason that it's important to set goals. And of course, everybody sets them differently and sets different ones. I tend to set a daily goal. Okay. Every day this year, I've got 3 goals. I'm going to, first goal, because I'm a Christian, and so my goal is always to seek first His kingdom and His righteousness today, knowing He'll take care of all the rest. So that literally means before my feet hit the floor, I look out the window and I ask God to help me to seek first His kingdom and His righteousness.
Amen.
And that's my focus every day.
Yeah.
And then my second goal this year is just to take a walk every day.
Yeah.
I mean, just get out and take a walk.
I've been enjoying your photographs and your haikus, by the way. I don't know if I had anything to do with that, but I'm like, yeah, somebody's got it going, and they're good.
A little bit, yeah. Yes, thank you. So
and I like the pictures. It's funny when I started doing my haikus, I was like, should I take a picture of the thing that's inspired me? And I was going to do what you do, but it was too much work.
Yeah,
I'm much better at that than I am. So, and what's your third thing?
Well, my third thing is, in fact, to be creative. Just do one creative thing each day. So whether it is writing one of those little haikus, or whether it's doing some needlework that I like to do, or whether it's going out and taking nature photos or drawing or whatever. Do one creative thing each day.
Designing logos.
Designing logos, whatever.
Whatever. I love that, Gail. I love
So,
that. I love that. And you were saying something, and it reminded me so much of something that I wanted to share, but I didn't want to cut you off. And now I'm sitting here thinking about what it was that I wanted to say to you. But it's you actually reminded me of that Hebrews verse. Oh, I'll tell you what it was that I was going to say.
what?
The deeper my relationship with God gets,
Mm-hmm.
the more fervent my faith and my trust and my love for God becomes,
Mm-hmm.
the less my goals, it's interesting. It's refined my goals to just trusting, like saying, brother, just trust God. Like, how do you wake up in the morning and trust him with my bank account, with my career, with my friendships? And I'll tell you a little story. The more I trust God, it's like he's playing, he plays with me. Like, we were staying at this house in Vancouver while I was shooting Mystery 101, and next door was this little Polish grandmother. And forgive me if I've told you guys the story, but it just happened to be in the garage, and I wanted to share it with y'all. And she asked me, she was very, very old, and she lived, she had 2 stories, and she had a basement, and she lived by herself. And she didn't like us at first because she didn't like anybody, and we were renters. And she was like, you know, this Polish woman. I won't imitate her, but she had this great, rich accent. She was like, "What are you doing here?" Of course, I did. And by the end of our 5 weeks in Vancouver, we become friends. And she would come on our doorstep, and she'd talk at like 8:40 in the morning, and I'd be like, "Oof, I gotta have 20 minutes for her." And then she'd make her way down, and she'd leave a parchment, or she'd leave some, you know, little fruit or something. And one day she asked me if I could fix her shower door. Now, here's the deal with the shower door. It was, it had 3 pieces of glass. So when you pulled the first one, it would pull out the second, which would then close it to the third. And she dumped one of the panels out. And I didn't know how to fix it. And I looked at it, and I was kind of trying to push it in, and I was trying to figure out how to get the thing in. And I thought about her. And so I just started praying, and I was like, Lord, show me how to do this. Like, you can do this. And Gail, I'm honest, if I can express to you the joy that all of a sudden I started feeling, and I would kind of wiggle the door, and all of a sudden, and one thing went in. I was like, oh, whoa, okay. And, and then I would do a little something else, and another thing went in. I was like, God, holy cow, Lord. And so, and within moments of praying, I was able to fix her door. She was so happy. I got a whole thing of little, like, tomatoes or something that she gave me. And then, since then, I'll lose something, and I'll be like, Lord, you know what it is. Help me find it. And I'll just relax and breathe, and I'll start and I find it. Like, it's been amazing. It's this thing where the Holy Spirit is just playing. And I think if I could do that with my career and with my relationships and with my finances, imagine if that was the goal. And that, I think, is what kingdom living is for us. I think that ultimately, for me anyways, what I'm trying to accomplish and share and really affirm when I'm talking to you, like, to people like you, like, I'm telling you so that I remind myself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that just dovetails perfectly with the one other thing I was going to say, which also comes from Proverbs 16:9. It says, the heart of a man plans his ways, but the Lord establishes his steps. Yeah. And so, yes, we can have plans, but he is going to take us through what he wants us to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. On that, I'm going to let you go. Awesome to see you. Your hair's getting longer, I think. Yours
I know.
Longer. Look at mine is starting to come in finally.
I know.
Oh, boy.
Well, I sure have missed talking to you, my dear brother.
Well, it's good to see you again. I know I missed everybody. I was like, man, I'm going to get back to Chautauqua. Nice. Last week I was ready. But it was a good break. I had a lot of stuff I had done. All right. I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for sharing as always. Bye, Gail. Good night.
Bye.
Okay. We have enough time to see one more person. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I'm gonna try you. No, I am going to. Okay, so I'm gonna come to Stephanie and then Sarah. I'm gonna try to get you, Sarah, before we go, because I want to talk to you about our fundraiser. Hi guys. Hi, kiddo. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New
Hey,
Year.
we got the family. What's up, everybody? Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
How are you?
Annika really wanted to share what our goal for this year is.
All right, Annika. What's your goal this
Annika?
year?
Each week we're gonna memorize a verse from the Bible
That's
As a
amazing.
family.
as a
As a
family.
family. How big are
Yes.
the verses? Like, does Jesus wept count as a verse, or do we have to go for like the long, like, do we have
Well,
to go for the long
we're
ones?
making it a little bit so that everybody can be involved. Daniel is kind of the rare exception because vocal verbal
Hey, buddy.
vocal verbal skills are still emerging for him.
Sure.
But my thought was, in America, we're so comfortable in our Christian faith. We don't we know that we have a Bible on the shelf. We can go and get it. But other countries, they literally are dying without ever being able to see one because they're dying for their faith.
Right.
And I don't want to be complacent and just take it for granted that we have the Word of God. So we want to get that saturated in the kids' brains, but we want it to be something that they enjoy. So each week, a different family member gets to choose the verse, and we work on it as a family.
That's awesome, Stephanie.
I choose this year.
He
You got
chose this week.
I
So
love
this
that,
week,
buddy.
do you remember what it is?
Yes.
We did
Can
Daniel
you say it?
2:20.
Daniel 2:20.
What is it?
And Daniel answered,
And Daniel answered,
"Blessed be the name of God.
the
Blessed be the name of God
blessed of God
forever and ever,
forever and ever.
and holy and mighty
Holy and mighty
is He." Yeah,
is He.
yeah, or wisdom and might are His. That's what it is.
I
See?
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
Stephanie, I'm just looking at you, and you have three of the prettiest little kids, and they are all over you, and you are surrounded by love and energy. And I just want to let you know that we see you and what you're doing and what you are and who you are. I think you're a remarkable mama.
thank you.
Kids are
Eli
lucky.
definitely
You got a
wants to say
good
something
mom.
real
Yeah.
quick, too.
When
Hey,
we
really quick, bud.
okay, when we watch your movies,
Yeah.
we love them.
Yeah.
We love them.
I love that. Thank you. So sweet.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us, Chris.
Of course, Stephanie. Thank you for doing what you do and keep blogging and keep being the mom you are. Nice fit, buddy. That's a good one.
Swallow,
Look at
bud.
that.
Swallow, Daddy.
All right.
Sorry.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Wait, did he?
I love that. Yep, everybody is doing their thing. All right, Sarah, I'm coming to you. And then, guys, that's it. The hour's up. That's how fast it goes. That's how fast it goes. Hello. Nice shirt,
Hi.
Sarah.
Thanks. Do you like my shirt?
Shirt, yeah. I'm digging that. Look at that. Pink. And I'm in pink.
I know. We're like
Okay,
matching
two
nicely
questions
here.
for you. We're running out of time, so
Yeah.
time is of the essence because I don't like going over, even though now I don't think it cuts me off anymore like it used to rudely.
Okay.
I think now we get to just go as long as we want, but I like to be cognizant of keeping the idea of it as a show. So
Great.
Goals, and then when is our auction this year?
So goals, one of them is to be able to do an art auction this year.
We will.
And since it's been 10 years since my first trip to Burkina Faso, I have this maybe unrealistic goal, but I'd love to be able to raise at least $10,000 this year, because then we could build a well, we could build a couple of latrines, and get a couple girls sponsored for school. So
When Stana Katic did her painting, how much did we raise that year?
I think her painting, altogether it was like 11,000, I think.
12.
Like almost 10,000 of it was just her painting.
Yeah, kind of amazing.
Yeah.
You're asking her to paint another one for us.
Ooh.
That's awesome. When is that going to be? And I'm going to have you on. I'm going to dedicate. I'm going to do this year. Some of the Chautauqua is going to be talking to people who are involved in like non-for-profits, and so
Cool.
every month I'm going to feature somebody, and I'm going to feature what you do for Arts in Action.
Thank
I want to
you.
talk to you about that. So when is our date?
So March 22nd is World Water Day. So
March.
if we're able to launch the auction that day or reveal who's participating that day, either one.
March 22nd?
Yep.
March 22nd, March 22. Okay. Got it. All right. And how do you keep a goal?
I'm really bad at it. I used to be really good at it, and the perfectionist in me felt like a failure when I wouldn't reach those goals, or like God, the universe, whatever you believe in, would just like laugh at me and blow it up, right? Like, yeah, that's not what you're going to do. And so for the longest time, I kind of quit writing them or visualizing them.
Yeah.
Where this year, my daughter and I, we both made vision boards. I got a planner and a bunch of stickers so I can be creative and make it kind of a visual journal, and really try and get back to that of like, even if I don't make those goals that I set, at least I'm striving for something.
Yeah.
So around, you know, my health, around the nonprofit, around my work.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I think what you just said, just so we have something really concrete for people to walk away with today, is setting the intention. I am a firm believer of writing it down, whether that's on a vision board or a dream board, or on a piece of paper that you fold up and put in your wallet. But it's that idea of constantly being reminded of the goal that we've set, which is a lifesaver for me. Because what I do is I take that piece of paper, I fold it up, I stick it in my wallet, and every time I go to get $1 out, I see that piece of paper, and then every once in a while I'll take it out and I read it. And throughout the course of the year, I'm like, I see how that's my north. I see how off course I am or how on course I am. And it's amazing how many times I can at the end of the year check off, you know, the good like 8 out of 10 things that I wanted to accomplish. So I think that's important to write it down. I think if you're listening at home and you're like, well, I don't know what to do, like try writing it down this year, or putting it on a board, or giving yourself something that you can remind yourself in March, and then in July, and again in October, when you're tired and you've forgotten, like, oh yeah, this is what I set out to do. Also amazing how often we subconsciously move towards that direction. I think that's what's interesting too. And then you actually are rewarded at the end of the year, because you're like, oh yeah, I actually met a bunch of my goals, like good for me.
Yeah.
Or like you did a couple years ago and said, man, sometimes the universe pushes back when we get too close. It's like, hold on a second.
Right. And when I gave up, met you, you know, so it balances out.
There you go.
So
What's she want you to show?
Oh, she wants you to see her vision board that she did.
Whoa, that's just awesome. That's artwork.
Yeah.
That's not just a vision board. That's like that's like a serious thing. You guys are so creative. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Love that.
I kind of did that too. So this represents you, you know, the film strips.
I like it.
So, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Have a great week.
You too.
Thank you for jumping on with me.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I'm going to say goodbye to all the folks at home here in a minute.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye, Sarah. Okay, guys. So I'm going to let you say goodbye to your friends. Wish each other well, and have a heck of a week. I always like to take one little gander at who's said what. You guys are so sweet. Such a nice community. All right. So set some goals, and then next week we can share them. I want to talk next week about leadership. So that's what leadership is going to be. I think it's an appropriate topic of conversation and a good timing for it. And I just want to know, like, we're just going to talk about what it means to be a good leader. Okay? So, until next week.